In Conversation is a collection of interviews with fashion photographers, models, makeup artists and stylists, as they give an insight into the industry and talk about some of their most inspiring images.
So yeah, so if you want to get started with from the photography side of things, obviously I know a little bit already, but how did you tell us a bit about your background? Like, how did you get started with it?
How did I get started? I was thinking this before. I was like, how did I get started? So I was that classic kid, the one with a camera shooting everything and everyone. I was probably really annoying, but I remember saving all my money up to get a what was it, like a Canon 1000D that's like worth about £50 now. But at the time I was like, it's all my money, all my savings. So I started with that, and then I obviously studied at college and uni. I think at uni, that's where I kind of found the love for fashion. And then after uni, I got a job at JD where I was doing fashion, but then I started to shoot more beauty stuff in my own time. I think that's where I started to figure out that that's kind of what I want to do, like step away from fashion and go more down the beauty route. And now I'm kind of just working for leading beauty brands and agencies and working with like new faces and yeah, yeah, that's how I started.
Yeah, so yeah, was that kind of? Did you feel that was like kind of a natural progression to go from the fashion into? I mean, we'll talk about it more as we go through like some of the images, but did you feel like, yeah, when you were doing it, did it just kind of it kind of naturally started pushing down that road that you like, I'm enjoying more the beauty stuff?
Yeah, I found each shoot was like if a stylist was on set and they were doing the amazing outfits, I'd always just be going in and getting like closer details. And the stylist is a bit like, what about that outfit that I've just done? I'm like, oh yeah, yeah, of course. Like I love shooting fashion as well, but I just found myself like going in for like details of their eyes or stuff like that. And I was like, I really enjoy that. So I think it just naturally progressed from fashion kind of more into beauty. Yeah.
Mhm. And it's all so we've kind of through uni and all that stuff, but most of it is it kind of fun, it's like sort of self-taught then a lot
Yeah,
of
definitely.
the techniques.
Definitely. Yeah. I think in uni, because I spent time so much on the fashion side, like it's only really in the past few years that I've kind of focused more on beauty. So I've also changed my lighting style. I've kind of changed my style quite a bit. And I think it's all self-taught, really. I think it's just trial and error as well, kind of like doing shoots and being like, oh, that's not really working. But finally getting kind of like a style and a light, and it's kind of like, yeah, this is kind of, I really like this, and yeah, just going with that.
Yeah, we'll go like I say with some of the images there's because a couple that I want to bring into that, and then we'll kind of focus on that where it talks about the sort of what you kind of think makes your sort of style distinctive and that.
Yeah.
So where you kind of at now? So yeah, so you're doing the shoots with work as well. Is that kind of got
Mhm.
that on the side as well? So you're doing the two.
Yeah, I kind of at the moment I'm shooting for the Hook Groups. They kind of own a lot of beauty brands, like Look Fantastic and Ico and Illamasqua. They're all very like beauty based. But I also work for a lot of agency work as well, because the Hook Group is also an agency. So I get random work as well. Like I work for Disney, just a lot of random stuff, like things that aren't beauty as well. Like I shoot quite a range, but yeah, and at the same time, I work with a lot of agencies doing new faces or portfolios and stuff like that. Yeah.
Do you find it's good like with work? Yeah, I think that kind of that mix that you get working with different saying like different brands and everything like that. But do you think that's it's like a really good thing and it's kind of getting you doing like different stuff?
Yeah, definitely, because each brand, each client want different lighting techniques, different styles. So even though I know I kind of like what I like in my lighting techniques and style, but I have to kind of challenge myself and try new things for clients. And I kind of, yeah, I learn every day, because a client might want something that I've never done before, and I just have to challenge myself really. And it is good to have that variety, because then I can obviously feel comfortable. I can also take that lighting onto anything that I want to do as well. So it is good to have the variety.
Mm-hmm.
Mm.
So with your shoots, like your own kind of shoots and that, is that yeah, that kind of in your free is it literally just kind of planning it in your free time and kind of putting the team together, doing all that sort of stuff? Do you
Yeah,
really enjoy that sort of things, like kind of planning in?
yeah, I do actually. Yeah, it is a lot in my spare time. It's kind of crazy. I work in the week and then the weekends I love to shoot, and everyone's like, don't you get tired of shooting? I'm like, no, not really. But yeah, a lot of it's my spare time. And I do enjoy getting the teams together, trying working with new models, new makeup artists, new stylists. It's quite exciting. Yeah, I do like it.
Yeah, I get that kind of thing as well. With they say that buzz. Like in my own time, it's kind of finding to switch off. But I like kind of putting like mood boards together and doing that stuff. But I kind of speak to when I speak to my parents regularly. My mum will say as well. She's like, make sure you have time off and relax. But I'm like, I find this relaxing. It's like, yeah,
Yeah, it's weird, isn't it? It's like it's
yeah,
relaxing, even though you're working. I think it's because it's for me, the stuff I do on the weekend is completely kind of what I want to do. Because in the week, I might be working for a client. It might be beauty, but it's still kind of going off what they want to do. But so at the weekend, it's kind of like it's relaxing because I'm like, oh, I can kind of do what I want.
mhm.
Um, yeah, it's good.
Yeah. So if there's anything you've been dying to shoot or anything like that, you can, yeah, you've got the chance to kind of do it yourself. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Okay, well, we'll talk about the first image then. So I tried to pick up, so I've got a couple of the recent ones, then I've got the cover that we used, and then
Mhm.
the first one I'm going to start with actually is one of your earlier ones. It's the jewelry shot.
Okay, yeah.
So I wanted to start with one of those earlier ones just to kind of show a sort of a progression as well and all that kind of thing, and just to kind of go back to some of the early stuff. But
Mhm.
yeah, so it's the one for, is it fire jewelry?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So yeah, do you remember how long ago this was?
A long time ago. I think maybe 2019, 21, 23. I don't even know, but it was a long, long time ago.
Hmm.
Um, but yeah, it was one of my first paid jobs. And it was shot in my apartment. And I used, what did I use for this? Think about now. I think I'll just use a beauty dish and then kind of like filled in with negative fills on each side to create like a really contrasty look. It was quite challenging actually because I was so used to kind of like doing beauty and kind of shooting however I want for it. And this time I was like, oh, I actually need to sell something here. So
Hmm.
it's quite challenging, yeah. So I kind of mixed kind of what I was doing, like focusing on beauty, eyes and stuff, but also bringing in the commercial side of it.
Hmm.
Yeah,
Yeah, did you find
a
that?
while ago. I'm trying to remember what I did.
Yeah, that's what I thought I'd start with, like one of the early ones. But I think
Yeah.
no, like, well, yeah. Did you find that kind of, like you say, it's one of the first sort of like paid ones, and that was that a bit of when you say like you having to think about the product and doing all that, was that a bit of like a challenge, or yeah, did it kind of come naturally?
Yeah, it was strange having to think now like, oh, I can't just do what I want. It's more like, okay, now I've got to really focus on what I'm selling here. And it's like the angles of the model, like especially for jewelry, it's quite difficult on how to position right to get the jewelry looking right. And it was quite a challenge, but I really enjoyed it. I think also one of these shoots was probably the start of me kind of swaying into beauty.
Hmm.
And I think you can tell by this, like I love shooting eyes and kind of features. You can kind of tell where I've kind of mixed shooting the features and like getting a bit of commercial in there. But it was a challenge, but I think it opened my eyes up to the beauty side of things.
Yeah, well, I mean, you can see with like the image, like the kind of yeah, this kind of beauty stuff early on, so you can see there was that
Mhm.
desire to kind of shoot that there. With how did you kind of, did the client contact you? Did message you? Did they say follow your Instagram or anything like that?
I think they contacted me through Instagram. I think they did, yeah, and just yeah, I think they had a whole collection, so they just wanted someone to shoot it. But this actually ended up on a billboard,
Oh, nice. Yeah.
yeah, which was quite exciting because I've never been on a billboard before. It was my first paid job, and I was like, whoa.
Hmm.
I mean, it's not any crazy billboard. I think it was like one near Piccadilly train station, but still went and had a picture with it.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's got to be good. Well, I think yeah, for
Like,
like first.
yeah, it's probably like this big, but I was like, yay.
Well, that's good. Yeah, for like first like paid shoot as well, and to get it on the billboard. Um,
Mhm. Yeah.
yeah. Did you yeah, so with jewelry as well, is that something that's kind of carried over? Do you think, like, obviously like the beauty stuff you've had on focus on, but is jewelry, is that something you love like shooting as well? Because obviously it can kind of, you've got a bit like on the shot, like with the rings and stuff, it can kind of go alongside like the portraits and the beauty.
Yeah, I usually try to mix jewelry in with beauty shoots. I've not done many more freelance stuff for jewelry company, but I feel like it comes hand in hand really with beauty images and jewelry because it is focused up here and it's a lot of hands. But yeah, I've not really had to do a shoot again where it's more like really focused on it because I'm not really shot with any clients at work as of yet for jewelry, but yeah, it comes hand in hand. So I do enjoy shooting it, like especially like big earrings, something that will complement the model, the shape of the model. Yeah, I do enjoy it.
We were saying about like I'll go into the second image because you're saying about some of the stuff the jewelry rings and then like the close up again. So the next one was with the one, it was actually it was like Our Tales magazine with Leah Keane as the model.
Oh yeah.
So it's that one, yeah, it's kind of like yellowy sort of image as well. So yeah, this obviously that's quite a bit jump from the one we just talked about like in time.
Yeah.
So it kind of shows us that kind of development with the style and stuff. But so yeah, what was the like a big concept behind this sort of thing, or was it just kind of speak to the team or shoot some beauty stuff? Was it kind of for the magazine in mind or anything like that?
It wasn't for the magazine. I think I was speaking to a stylist and she really wanted to do kind of like a colourful look. So all the clothes she's wearing is quite colourful, and I shot through some colourful items to kind of like get the colours through because she had bright blue eyes, and I was thinking her eyes are amazing. Let's get some colours to kind of like complement her eyes. So yeah, there wasn't really an idea of where it was going to go. We just kind of saw this model and I was like, her eyes are amazing. We need to shoot with her. Let's get some colours involved. But yeah, that's how it was created.
So yeah, is the colour, because there is quite a bit with like your images and stuff. So is the colour thing, is that, yeah, is it kind of a big thing when you like sort of deciding on the sort of the look and the style of the shoot?
Yeah, I guess so. I kind of go off the model's features, and if they've got like bright eyes, I like to really make them stand out with like other colours. I do like shooting with colours, probably not a lot with like black, and because my images are so bright and kind of like airy, and I kind of like a lot of colours to complement it.
And the so you got like the blur with this image, you got like the blur effect in front as well. Was that kind of what was in front? Was it just like getting some flowers or something in front of the camera?
Yeah, I love shooting through anything. Like people laugh because I would literally find anything and shoot through it. Like once I shot through a bag for life and they were laughing, but it worked. So this was I think it was just I've got like a bunch of dried flowers and stuff like that, and I kind of just like bring them in to every shoot. I try them. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. But I just love shooting through it, especially if we get like a close image of like an eye, and you bring that color in. Like say for this one, the blue eye. I think the yellow really complements it. But I love shooting through things.
Yeah, no, it's, I mean, it's nice. It's like you can see it as well. Like again, not just that little bit of color in it as well. And then I've got, so what was the team? So you've got, I think you had Kate Gately's the makeup artist, and then Chloe Aldridge is the stylist, and then like I said, Leah Keane's the model. Yeah, what was the team like? Had you worked with them before? What were they like?
Yeah, so I actually worked with Chloe as a stylist at the Hunt Group as well, but I think I worked with Kate like years and years and years ago. I'm actually thinking about it. I don't know if she might have been the makeup artist on that fire shoot.
Okay.
So I worked with her years ago, and then she kind of reached out and was like, "It's been so long, let's shoot together." And she's quite busy, so I finally got her on the shoot, and yeah, it was a great team. Leah was really, really good as well. Amazing team.
So when you're directing as well, like with yeah, do you have a specific with models or anything like that? Do you have a way you like directing? Are you quite vocal, or do you just kind of let them do their thing?
I kind of give a brief before I shoot. Like I make it like a board, a Pinterest board. So I do before I shoot, I have like a look and feel in mind. So I kind of say to models like, be really obviously relax, and then bring hands in, and then kind of, I always love shapes, so bringing shoulders up, bringing collarbones out, any features that can like pop out, kind of eyes. So for this shot, like we were going in close for the eyes, so it's like she'd bring the hands in. But yeah, I always say quite soft posing. So if you're going to bring the hands in, make sure it's like the hands are really soft instead of like, you know, like really structured hands. Because I think anything soft and floaty is quite nice because it kind of goes with the whole feel.
And is that with so let's say, do you sit down with them before and kind of, do you go through some of like sort of like what, like inspo images and like kind of references or anything like that, and find that helps?
Yeah, definitely. I think a few weeks before, when I've got the mood boards all done, I send them out and just say this is kind of like the look and feel. And then day of, I'd go through it and be like, okay, this is kind of how we want the mood to be. But I always say to them, you don't have to follow it strictly. It's kind of just like the vibe of it, but then do whatever you want. Like if you want to throw in some crazy moves, then go crazy. But yeah, I'm quite open with the shoots. I kind of give a mood board so we all know kind of how it's looking. But yeah, it just goes how it goes.
Yeah, you kind of leave it open a bit for like the sort of freedom of the day and like sort of stuff to happen.
Yeah, because that's probably when you get shots that you don't think you're going to get as well.
Well, speaking to a lot, but I think it seems to be that kind of thing seems to be the best way to work, as opposed to being too rigid or like completely fixed on it's got to look like it's got to be this. I think I do hear that quite a lot, where it's like, yeah, we've got some ideas, this kind of thing, but you don't want to be constantly looking at it and being like, where exactly was the hand in that shot? Where was this? Because you end up just basically copying. You want to do your own thing.
Yeah. And I think I've tried that before. And you see an image and the model's like in a position, you're like, let's try something like that. And you go to copy it and it never works the same. So it's always easiest to do your own thing and just kind of let the model do their own thing, because every model brings something different to a shoot, different posing, different energy. So I kind of just let them lead that.
So like talking about, let's say we've had the two images and that kind of difference with time, but talking about your kind of style, like how do you feel it's kind of developed over that time? Like do you one of the things I was going to ask is like, do you get influence from like, do you get much influence from like other photographers and stuff? But basically, like with a lot of your stuff, I see it kind of like reminds me a lot of like, you know, like Lara Jade and photographers like that. So yeah, is the people like that you look at, or is there anyone you could kind of grab inspo from for that kind of thing?
Well, I always struggle when people ask like, where's your inspiration from? Because I don't really follow that many photographers or brands or anything like that. I mean, funny you say Laura J, because Laura J is probably the only photographer that I do follow, and I think her work's amazing. But I don't really follow that many photographers, don't really like do research on anything. So I'm more kind of like inspired by like kind of like a vision that I can create with the model. So like if I see a model, I kind of get inspired by like, this would be really good to create this with them. It's more like being inspired by the models, and even if that's like taking a feature and really focusing on that on the image. For example, like a shoot that I did recently, Esme she's called, and she has these massive eyes, and I shot with her a few weeks ago, and I was like, for Disney, and I was like, we need to do a beauty shoot because your eyes are so big. So that's kind of like how I get inspired for my shoots and like get visions for them, not really inspired by other photographers or brands or anything.
That's quite interesting. So yeah, it's a lot of it's from like the model and stuff, and you can kind of see how you kind of you want it to, like, you want the shots to look after seeing like the model.
Yeah.
Nice. Retouching, anything like that, that sort of things. Again, it's all like kind of self-taught and everything like that. So do you do it all yourself for your images? Do you reach out for anyone, or do you like to have control of everything?
I try to do it all myself, but if I'm really busy or there's loads, like I've done a test day and there's quite a lot of images to get through, I will reach out. There's like maybe two retouchers, that I use. It took me a while because my style's so natural. Like I want it to be retouched, but not retouched.
Mhm.
A lot of retouchers kind of go and push it a bit too much, so it's quite hard to find a retoucher that kind of suits my style. But yeah, I do try to retouch a lot myself, and I try to keep it as minimal as possible, kind of doing a little bit on the skin, but mainly just bringing features out, kind of like going around the eyes. But yeah, I try and keep it quite natural as possible.
And do you enjoy that bit of it as well? I know some people hate it or whatever, but do you enjoy? I mean, I quite like the mods. It's almost a bit like therapeutic as well. When you can kind of sit there and just spend a bit of time on it. Do you like that side of it?
Yeah, I actually love it. Like when I get a day when I'm kind of like going my own little zone, kind of put music on. Yeah, I do love it. It's quite scary though, because like you be retouching and then 4 hours are gone by and you've not even looked up from your computer and you're like, whoa. But no, I do like it when I get in like a retouch zone. But yeah, it's quite fun.
Okay, so yeah, moving on to the next image, which was the two models. So it's Sarah
Mm.
Bramley and Lauren Greenwood, and then on makeup was Lou Pye. So
Mhm.
um yeah, so how was first of all, how was it working with two models? Have you done much work with two models? Do you find it's a big difference? It's not too different. How do you find it?
I've not actually done that much with two models for a beauty shoot, but these two work so well together. Like they look, I was saying that they even look related. Like you could tell those kind of like kind of chemistry. They work together really, really well. But I really enjoy working with two. I think I do need to start shooting more multiple models. But yeah, they just work really well together.
Is that something? I mean, obviously, is it hard to like really? Is it really tricky to plan that? I mean, does it help if you know if they've met before, or is it just down to the day? Like, just see how they turn up on the day and just kind of see how they interact with each other.
Yeah, I think it's a bit of both. Like, it's probably a bonus if they know each other already and they've worked together already. But I think it's just if you find two that you can see would work together, you just hope that they'll get on set. But luckily, I think these two had worked together before, so they weren't uncomfortable or anything. So yeah, I was quite lucky with how they worked together.
Um, and the makeup one. So yeah, I love the makeup on these. So is this something? Yeah, from the makeup side of it, like this, or just in general, or this shoot, do you speak to the makeup artist much about that, or do you kind of go, no, that's their department, I'll let them do their thing, or do you like to kind of bounce ideas off about that?
Well, for this shoot, it was actually makeup led, because Lou messaged me and she was like, "I need to make a show reel for makeup, and I've got this idea, and I really think that we should do this. I've got so." And she said she had the model, so this shoot was kind of makeup led and led by Lou. Um, so yeah, it was kind of she wanted to showcase her using color, so then she kind of approached me and said that, and I was like, okay, let me think about this. If you want to use color, let's use natural light. And luckily it was sunny, so it really brought out the colors. But yeah, it was actually makeup led this shoot.
Mm-hmm. And then the natural light sort of thing is, yeah, do you have like a preference on that? I mean, was this all? Did you have like a flash on as well? Was it all natural light? How was it?
This was actually all natural light, shot in my home studio that is actually a garage.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I kind of made a little studio in my garage. I just kind of woke up one day and I was like, I'm gonna make a studio. It was really sunny, it was in summer, so I was like, yeah, absolutely fine. So this is all natural light, and I think I just kind of had reflectors, bounced it all back in. But yeah, no flash on these.
Do you still use the studio? Is that something, or is it just for a certain period of time?
It's kind of a seasonal studio because it's so cold and it
Right.
rains all the time. So in the summer, I'll go back using it. I'm just waiting for it to get a little bit warmer because it's a garage, there's no heating in it. So I don't want the models to be freezing. So it's kind of a seasonal studio. So maybe in a month's time, hopefully
Yeah.
it'll be a bit warmer. So maybe I can start using it again.
Just when it gets the warmer season, then just get as many shoots in as possible in there just while it's
Yeah,
warm.
exactly. Like
Yeah.
every weekend, because I think I did one when it started getting a bit cold and I had to put like blankets on the model, and I was like, no, I need to stop now.
Yeah,
Model
yeah.
was shivering. I was like, no, let's get blankets. So that was the last one. I was like, I can't do that to them.
Yeah. Oh, well, that's, yeah, again, like with the kind of warmer weather on its way soon. So yeah, it's a nice thing to look forward to, and yeah, get like
Yeah,
just getting used to the studio.
that week of
Um,
sun that we get, try and
what's
shoot
that?
every day.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Well, that's what I thought. It feels like when it gets, especially in this country, and like winter seems to go on forever. And then I notice as it starts getting to like March, April, and that, and then you can see the buzz of everyone, and it's just like, yeah, the studio's just like getting hired loads more, and everyone's just getting in as much as they can,
Yeah.
just to kind of last them through winter. I think just like to get
Yeah,
kind of shoot.
trying to get much light as possible.
Yeah, yeah. Do you have any kind of favorite shoots to date? Anything you've shot that you've, yeah, favorite?
I have a few favorites. That one with Sarah and Lauren is probably one of my favorite, but also probably the one with Sophia, with the freckles. Again, that was shot in my garage. But yeah, everything about that shoot was great. Like the best team. And working with Lou again, working with Kyle on styling. But everything just works perfectly. The sun came out for a little bit as well, probably like 5 minutes. So we were like, quick, get back on set, just get some sun. But yeah, I love working with Sophie. I've shot her a few times, but her skin's amazing. She's got amazing eyes. She's obviously got the freckles. So shooting beauty, she's a dream. So, and there wasn't really any retouch needed for that shoot. So yeah, dream team, dream shoot.
Well, I mean, that's the one I was going to kind of like the last image I was going to talk about. But I mean, you've kind of mentioned quite a bit about it there. And you said you like with like Lou again on makeup and stuff. Yeah, do you is there certain kind of creatives you like work? Do you have like a few that you kind of like people you can work with again and again, like people you can trust?
I kind of I like to work with a range of creative, because I feel like you get different looks and different things from different makeup artists and stylists. But I have worked with Lou quite a bit. I'm working with her again soon as well. But I'm not strict on like I only work with this makeup artist, I only work with this stylist. I like to work with different people, because I feel like that's how you get a variety and kind of your images. And yeah, I like to work with anyone.
Yeah, and I think oh yeah, so the kind of you mentioned about the sort of like the little bits like the concept behind it and stuff. So did you with the team, did you kind of again did you send much out beforehand? Was this you, did you kind of lead this like the whole planning of it and be like sending out images like I want it to kind of look this kind of styling?
Yeah, I think again I'd made like every shoot I make a mood board, and just by looking at the model, so I knew I was going to shoot with Sophia. So I kind of saw her and I was like, okay, what would she suit? She's very natural. So I was like, I really want to bring the freckles out. So I made a board kind of on that, and then I sent it to Kyle, and I was like, what are you thinking? What do you think will work with this model? And he came up with some amazing ideas. And then we kind of spoke to Lou as well and was like, what do you think? But there wasn't really a strict idea behind it. It was kind of like, this is a model we'll work with. I'm going to shoot in natural light. It's going to be nice and soft, kind of like you guys just bring what you think will work with the model.
Yeah, I like how you like going back to that again as well, like how you say the whole planning process, and a lot of it does start with, say, you'll see a model or something like that, and you kind of plan it around that. And I think it's quite a nice like a bit of like a different way of doing it as well. It's like it's a nice way of planning, of being like, because it's kind of they are a big part of the image, and it's kind of planning around that, like what's going to work with them. So it's quite a nice nice way of hearing of like way it's kind of planned from the start. When you're on the shoot, do you have any like preferences? Do you have anything you like, do like certain types of music or any kind of go-to setups and all that kind of stuff?
Well, location wise, I try to get as much light as possible, because I love to shoot just natural to make like really soft, airy images. But music wise, just good music. Upbeat music, because it makes such a difference, especially if I'm shooting like new faces who might be quite nervous or a bit of uncomfortable about the situation. Like I feel like music just changes the whole mood of the shoot. And I feel like when you have a happy team and a comfortable team, that I feel like that's when you get best images and best results.
Mm-hmm. Do you kind of, is it kind of, you've got like a little go-to playlist or anything like that, or do you kind of, with the music, do you let them, like, sometimes it'll be like, do you let the model go, or what do you want on, because you find they kind of, if it's some music they like, they kind of react better to it, or do you just put it on and go, let's just leave the music to your thing? Because sometimes I'll put it on, but I've got like some playlists, but then like a little guilty pleasure will come on somewhere, and I'm like, yeah, I need to skip these.
Yeah, I usually ask the model first, because you kind of want the model as comfortable as possible. So if they have a music they enjoy, you kind of want to put that on first. But usually they're like, oh no, whatever. So I do have a shoot playlist. It's just kind of like upbeat, positive music, just so everyone's kind of feeling great, making some great images.
And lastly, yeah, just in terms of like future shoots. So yeah, is there anything, any kind of concepts or themes that you've been wanting to shoot, or anything you want to plan, or any kind of like brand stuff or anything like that that you've been dying to do?
Well, I've got a few shoots planned. I'm actually doing something completely different that I've not done before. I'm doing like a high fashion beauty editorial with a classic model, because I've actually not worked with many classic models, but the idea behind that is to really do something different that you won't really see on a classic model, kind of like big coats with collars up and bright coloured eyes, and like just really kind of pushing the boat out of it. But I've got that planned, which is quite exciting. Got a few other beauty shoots planned, hopefully going to use natural light again if it gets a bit sunnier. We've had a lot of sun recently, so maybe I'm a bit too late. I feel like it's going to rain now for like 2 months, but yeah, I've got quite a few planned, but I'm quite excited about the classic model shoot.
Yeah, nice. Well, it sounds like a good concept.
Yeah.
And yeah, like you say, with the light, I mean, it's gone really nice again today, but I think it's just it's very unpredictable. That's why I do like a lot of studio stuff as well, because it's just gets a bit too unpredictable in this country. But I think when you kind of start getting to those months, you know that it's a little bit more consistent around then. So yeah, hopefully then you'll be able to like kind of make use of the studio a bit more then as well, and get those shoots booked in.
Yeah, hopefully for that week of sun.
Yeah. Awesome. Well, thanks for like sitting down and spending a bit of time to do it, Carrie.
Okay, no worries.
And I'll look forward to seeing some of more of the stuff you post, like the more concepts and that you put together. But yeah, loving the work, and yeah, thank you for doing it.
Thank you. No worries. No worries
Thank
at
you.
all.
Thank
No
you.
worries.
Bye.
Bye. Bye.